You guys remember Jason, right? Had early access to a Cybertruck, shared his honest thoughts, said it was epic AF, great, fantastic, a million different positive things, and also acknowledged, including on some podcasts discussing the review and the aftermath, that he knew ahead of time a lot of people get super butthurt about the fact that he really, really, really liked this incredible piece of technology, but he was willing to share his opinion. And then also had a podcast with the anti-Elon deluded hater. I forget what his name was. Shat. All over his reputation. What was his name? Shat something or other? I think it was Shat. Anyway, destroyed that guy as well. Completely roasted him just for being deluded, extremely biased, emotional, and irrational. Well, now Jason's back to share his thoughts on Tesla's Model 3 performance, which he managed to get early access to. I suspect an official review will be dropping if it hasn't already, but this is kind of the, well, tell us what you really think type of podcast discussion. So I'll find a few highlights and let's find out what Jason has to say about Tesla's refreshed performance Model 3, which is truly stunning value, especially in the United States with the tax credit, but we'll get to that later. Over to you, Jason.
Right, whatever. I tend to trust Tesla because when Tesla promises stuff, they do what they promise. Is it always perfect? No, different story. But so first things first, they wanted to differentiate the car visually from the regular Model 3 long range and base. So it gets unique front bumper and fascia with like a spoiler. It gets a unique rear bumper and fascia with a diffuser, a spoiler in the back, different wheels, big brakes, same as the old performance brakes. And then there's probably something I'm forgetting. I don't know, some other, the badge. And then inside, when you're sitting there, there's a sort of a blade on the dashboard. That's a carbon blade. But most important, it gets awesome seats. And it's one of those things we don't think about. But if you really do think about it, like what's the one thing that every performance variant of any car has? Like you get a
Sport
GTI
seats.
because of the plaid cloth seats. You get like, you know, insert name of anything. You go from a 3 Series to an M3, you're getting special seats.
Yeah.
And these seats are fantastic. They are really, really aggressively bolstered, but soft. So the M3, which I hate.
So we're taking a quick pause here. Jason really emphasized fantastic there. It's almost like he was about to bust a nut. As we know, Tesla makes their own seats in-house, which is a little bit uncommon for a, quote, automotive manufacturer. But seats are kind of important. After all, if you're in a vehicle, you're in a seat.
That you haven't driven that car. It has this carbon shell seat.
Is this the one with the little dick tray?
It's got a ball tray, a ball
Yeah.
rest, and I hate that.
Yeah, I actually have driven one of those cars, but just around like at low speeds.
I don't.
Because there was one on our whatever that shoot was.
So
the
I'm not
M4.
right. I thought you'd driven.
Yeah,
around.
but I'd like just maneuvered it around.
That seat is a perfect example of how, like, I love when you're in it. It's so supportive that it's great, and it feels special. Like it feels like, oh, I'm in something special. It's got a dick rest. You can't put your phone. Like I'll often, like, you know, if I hop in a car for just a minute, I'll shove the phone sort of under my thigh. Can't do it there, but it's just hard and uncomfortable. This thing you get in, it feels like a Cadillac seat. Like it's really, or even a Volvo seat, supple, soft, but then ridiculous amounts of support. It is perfect. It's the perfect compromise between.
Perfect. Strong word. Wonder how much hate Jason's going to get from the deluded anti-Elon, anti-Tesla crowd on this one, describing the seats in the Model 3 Performance as fantastic, perfect.
Support and
Comfort.
So then like that right off the bat, you're like, okay, that's amazing. And then functionally, whereas the last car, so apparently the engineers snuck into the Model 3 chassis from the get-go the ability to have staggered tires. And it was a square setup on the last performance. But they really didn't want to do that again. So now they finally have as they explained, Tesla finally has the bandwidth to make hardware changes to the car. And if you remember, 6 years ago, they were in Elon's, what he called it, quote, production hell. They were just trying to ship this car out. And they really didn't have a lot of time to play with performance. This time they did. So it's staggered tires, forged wheels.
So what do we get for that? How is the car's weight distribution? Are you want better grip in the back, or
you want the ability to put more power to the ground in the back?
Yes.
And then you don't really need that big of a tire up front for turning if you're looking for, remember, a compromise here, range, right? So actually steering will often feel better with smaller tire size. What they say is the difference in sidewall allow them to tune the suspension to react differently in corners versus straight away. And they're able to engineer in compliance where they need and stiffness where they needed, thus resulting in both better ride and better handling.
That's what they said.
That's what they said. And the big change is that it also has adaptive dampers. And so this is a continuous damper system, very much like the Plaid has, where you can really watch everything happen in real time. But it has one valve that controls both compression and rebound, but accelerometers directly on the lower control arm. So they're really doing things differently than most, and the suspension is constantly working. Rides like $1 million.
Rides like $1 million, hey? But does it have $1 million price tag? And spoiler alert, no. We could buy like about 20 of these things after the tax credit for $1 million. Outrageous value.
It's taught. It's exactly what I put it this way. It is, if you had me describe that ride quality in 2 words, I would say sports sedan. Mm-hmm. No harshness, nothing like the sort of Audi sports sedan way where let's make it ride like an ox cart.
Yep. Or harsh, because that's allegedly sporty. I feel that way about the E63 also. I mean, unforgivable ride quality for a Mercedes-Benz that size.
And S63 is the same way, right?
Yes, that's true.
Anyway, so we drove the Model 3 Performances around Malibu, and the roads are really bad right now because of all the rain and mudslides. And
bad in terms of they're chewed up in terms of
potholes, mudslides everywhere, rocks all over, sinkholes. The thing was genuinely spectacular.
So, genuinely spectacular. I can feel the rage building in the Tesla haters in the comments. I can just feel it. How much did Tesla pay you? It is important, by the way, folks, for the car enthusiasts to be fapping this hard over Model 3 performance, because these are the kind of folks who typically will froth over some of the luxury German brands. What initially drew people to Tesla vehicles was not the same features that drew people to a high-end Mercedes, BMW, or Audi. But guess what? Based on Jason's comments, the Model 3 Performance, the refresh, is up there with the best, if not embarrassing them.
Never once had a hard bump stop excursion with where I thought I'm going to bend something. So I would say ride equivalent to, possibly likely better than, kind of hard to tell, but probably better than CT4V. And then the interior, the overall interior Highland upgrades that they made just make it a nice car now. Like, it's no longer in the same way that when Model S had the big interior upgrade with Plaid a couple years ago, it went from being Kia quality, and I mean old Kia, not new, to like Lexus. Same kind of thing. Interior materials, okay. It's now you're not making excuses for why things look or feel like shit. Still the best infotainment system in the world. The biggest, and I'll blow my...
Just in case you missed that, quote, still the best infotainment system in the world. Fantastic seats. On rough roads, it's genuinely spectacular. Best infotainment system in the world, and spoiler alert, I mean, we know about the performance, right? Dude, this is a clean sweep.
My wad here, the worst part about the entire car is the stupid fucking lack of turn signal stock. I can get past the lack of a shifter because the screen is right there. It's not better than a drive and reverse and park shifter that it was, the Mercedes style. But the turn signals are asinine.
How do you actuate them?
There are 2 buttons on the 9 o'clock position.
Okay, so any guesses? Why do I have a BlackBerry on screen right now? Any guesses? Let's scroll a little bit and see if we can figure out why would a BlackBerry be on screen now? Oh, that's right. Remember those old phones that no one remembers anymore, other than as a relic, a fossil from the past? They had a button for every letter in the alphabet, as opposed to the asinine touchscreen. Yeah, I don't know why I brought this up, actually. Tell us more, Jason.
Stock, the spoke, that are up and down, not left and right. So if you were going to do this and you were going to put them on the steering wheel and you were trying to copy Ferrari because you're stupid, you would then at least make a button on the left for the left turn signal and a button on the right for the right turn signal. And then I would hate it. But this is 40 times worse because it's both on the left, one up and one down. And I get it. The up is the right, which would indicate pushing a lever up. But I noticed that no one driving a new Model 3 I never see them using turn signals. And, we just saw Tesla demonstrating this thing where it's automatically going to signal if you're on Autopilot Plus and it knows a turn's coming up, or if it sees you crossing a lane marking. That's a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. If the turn signal is that unusable that you have to have the computer say, oh, we should be turn signaling now, and the owner is saying, I'm not going to bother, fuck you, it's just a bad ergonomic decision.
Okay. Yep.
So NVH, great ride, superb seats, amazing screen, and all the infotainment, great. I didn't even turn the stereo on. I've heard great stuff about it. Don't care for the purpose of this. Steering,
Wait, what about body controls? Since we were talking recently about suspension.
Spectacular.
Okay.
Like,
so comfort and body control both. Modern times, they're...
Did he just bust a nut talking about the body control? Jason can't contain himself. And by the way, the hilariousness of his only gripe so far being the supposedly asinine turn signal placement. Just for the record, Jason, the reason that Tesla is not making it incredibly easy and familiar to signal left or right is because it's not long until people don't need to do that. Now, I totally understand his point. If you're used to using turn signals, one on the left, one on the right, I get it. It's going to take some getting used to. Although every single person watching who's ever played a video game will realize how quickly we can adapt to a different control system, right? But the reason Tesla's done this is don't waste money putting expensive shit that's not going to be needed in these vehicles. We're going to be producing them for years, and turn signals are going to be completely unnecessary and irrelevant very soon, so fuck it. We'll still allow people to do it, but we'll do so in a way that isn't going to cost a fuck ton of money and add unnecessary complexity. This is the decision. Tesla didn't do this because they're dumb. They actually did it because they have extremely large brains.
They're amazing.
Like, I don't understand how no bump stops hits, no matter what we did. So the old car would get this sort of, especially the back, this sort of, like heaving. None of that. Absolutely none of that. But no, the last car was skittish. I thought of a better word than skittish. It was nervous and it was sketchy. You never knew what the fuck it was going to do. It was sketchy is the best word. It was just, it turned in way too aggressively, and then you'd feel the body roll. There's body roll here, but it's now controlled. It's all one cohesive package. And then any bump is one and done. No matter what I hit, just one, done. And no repeats, no reverberations, no bouncing, no heaving, just spectacular. Again, driven in isolation on pretty nasty roads. I would love to drive it, and I will drive one together with other competitive cars in this class. And then steering, which is also part of that, no longer has that accelerated, like, oh, I'm going to go over here. Oh, I'm going to go over there. It's just natural and progressive. And strangely, it's the same rack as the regular non-performance car, but they changed the hub design to give it an effectively quicker ratio. So it's quick. I think it's all mounting points and how far out. The steering. So the hub, the outer tie rods are mounted to the hub. And if you have the distance, the kingpin, I guess it's kingpin. It's probably not kingpin distance. The distance between
tie
the steering.
rod ends. You're talking about tie rod ends.
And the hub. You can move that around and change the relative reaction of the wheels.
Right. I guess the farther away you put it from the rotation axis, the
slower it would be.
Yeah.
But the hubs are unique to. I think the hubs are unique to performance. I'm pretty sure they said none of the wheel bearings, I think, were the only carried over part, if I remember from the tech presentation.
And the steering rack, apparently.
Yes, steering rack. I'm talking about just at the corners because brakes, calipers.
Yes. Okay.
So the steering is not the most communicative in the world, but actually by EPAS standards, what Tesla did really well and still does is a lot of high frequency stuff. So road texture and sort of quick changes, you really do feel a direct connection. Where it falls apart a little bit is at like the understeer limit. You won't feel the effort to sort of loosen up. One of the things I'm always looking for is a build of weight as I'm going into a corner, and then an indication that understeer is imminent, coming through as a sudden reduction or a gradual reduction in the weight. So all of a sudden I'm turning and it's not giving me all that much resistance. That's the understeer limit that you can kind of feel. I understeered around one corner, surprisingly, because there was a little bit of dirt on the road. Didn't feel it coming. Didn't love that. But limited rock faces, cliffs, this is kind of a limited, dangerous place to really push a car. So I wasn't going to go crazy. And then, of course, there's the power. 510 horsepower total combined, which is not a lot in this world, which is fucked up. The whole car weighs 3 kilos more than the last one. So right around 4,000 pounds, 4,050 pounds.
Is it that light?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, this is the joke. These cars, all the EVs get all this reputation for being so stupid heavy. I did not weigh the car. But that's Tesla's factory weight quote. But the M3 is now heavier. And the C63 AMG, which I haven't driven yet, is 5,000 pounds. So
with four cylinders.
With electric motors. And
so just for the record, the reason that people assume electric vehicles weigh a fuck ton is because the batteries actually do weigh a fuck ton. However, if you happen to have big-brained engineers and figure out ways to delete parts, aka mass, from the vehicle, clearly Tesla has the big brain engineers and has done exactly that. You can in fact produce a surprisingly light performance electric vehicle.
And four-wheel drive and turbos and blah, 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 blah.
That's interesting. And it's also funny to think
really
500
5,000, it's
horsepower is like what a GT3 has, and that car weighs 3,000 pounds.
I'm glad you brought up GT3 because I want to get back there in a minute when we start talking about modern other cars. But right, so Tesla claims the last car was quick. Out of the box, originally when it first launches, it was 3.5 seconds to 60. And by the end, I think they were around 3.2, 3.3. Tesla claims 2.90. I brought a Draghi with me and with a passenger in the car and 88% state of charge and air conditioning on. I averaged 2.90. There was a slight grade, so I did up and down both directions.
Bro, this is fucking insane. So Tesla themselves, 2.9 second 0 to 60 time, right? We just hear Jason here disclose that with the passenger, with the aircon on, he's doing 2.90. Madness.
Directions average 2.9. So I'm going to call that verified. The rear motor, so the front is still an induction motor, so it can be disabled for cruising, which is what you want for efficiency. Rear is permanent magnet, but it's their new 4th generation drive unit. And the torque delivery is very different. The old car, you sort of had a build, and then it would fall off relatively quickly.
Are you talking about actual power, or are you talking about jerk?
Actual power. So the early non-performance cars were really slow to build. There was a build to 40 miles an hour, and then they'd peak at 40, and then by 60 acceleration was falling off. Performance fixed that quite a bit, but this performance does not relent. So it's, I did a brake torque kind of launch, and it was da-da-da-da-da. It like yelled at me and beeped at me and then didn't give me a lot of power. And so the second run, I got a 3.1 to 60. And then the second run, I just flat-footed and holy shit. I mean, you get a crack through the whole chassis because of how violently it engages those motors. And there's none of this 0 to 40 mile an hour build. It's max by probably 20. I mean, you can't tell. It all happens so fast you can't really tell. And then just doesn't stop fucking pulling till well over school zone speeds.
Hilarious. Now, what are the odds that Tesla's implemented a lot of what they learned with the Model S Plaid into the Model 3 Performance, which also have this insane, constant, unrelenting surge? I think this is, about the 7th time Jason's busted a nut describing the Model 3 Performance, by the way. Well, not that I'm keeping count.
Yeah. But at highway and highway passing speeds,
outer space school,
it is not Plaid fast, but fast, genuinely fast.
Okay.
And they've done a whole bunch of things to move around because the rear motor unit is now much more powerful than the front and has more torque output. You now get a better torque distribution front to rear. They're both maxed out.
Right.
And they can max out the rear now with the larger tires. So depending
on how much horsepower is at each axle, you can figure out the power.
Well, and it's not necessarily always maxing both of them out unless you're floored. But what it is able to do is now it bias rear when you are really heavy on throttle at 50 to 70 miles an hour. I think there was 30 to 50 or 50 to 70 where they were pointing out there's now it's now 5+ percentage points more power at the rear, torque at the rear, which is what you want. So the car is much quicker out of corners. And so they build the whole thing as a much more cohesive handling and sort of everyday package rather than just a slap together. What I think they're saying is it's more of an M car and less of an Audi S car, right? Which is give me a bigger motor, straight line speed, make it ride like shit, call it a day. This is now integrated and completely nailed it. I mean, I
completely nailed it. I mean, holy shit. Spectacular, amazing, fantastic, nut. Completely nailed it. Is it just me or is Jason nothing but impressed across the board? And I get the feeling he's going to know that a lot of the butthurt babies in the comments are going to be losing their minds, accusing him of being a paid Tesla shill or his honest opinion on Model 3 performance. After all, the first stage of grief, denial. Can't possibly be that good. They must be paying him.
I got so much shit over Cybertruck.
What do you fucking know? Exactly what I was saying. He knows more is coming.
Because I was so positive about the engineering behind about that car. Still haven't stopped getting shit about it. I don't want one. I don't think it's necessary. That's a different story. This renders the M3 completely and totally irrelevant.
Holy shit. Big call. And Jason knows he's going to get a lot of flack for this statement.
I don't see why you would choose, unless you had a commute that was more than 300 or 400 miles a day. I no longer see.
But you could say, what about Blackwing? Blackwing is a good manual.
So here's my thought on this. All of the things that have made modern sports sedans so fast, and modern cars in general so fast, have removed us from the process, right? And so that is turbocharging.
Reducing involvement, yeah.
Right. Turbocharging, all-wheel drive, automatic transmissions, all of these sort of things that are making cars faster and faster and faster and ostensibly better on paper, just really remove the experience. And we now get to a point where the best of the M3s, for example, are competition pack cars. They're automatic only. They're all-wheel drive. We're now removing so much of the pleasure of driving from it that you're left with the drawbacks of turbo lag, transmission lag, and whatever else. And that's what we notice, right? Somebody gets in, how's the lag? How's the transmission shift? If I can't have a rear-wheel drive manual transmission, naturally aspirated, raw experience, then I'm going to choose the one thing that makes the best commuter. And the best commuter means it's responsive, it's comfortable, it's quick when I need it to be, it's a nice place to spend time. Oh, and if I want to take the back roads home, I don't want to be disappointed by it. And where the old car was perfectly fine to drive every day and then could keep up with cars on back road even if it wasn't pleasurable, this car solves that. This car's like, yes, I would absolutely take an hour detour on the way home, blast up and over a mountain road, have a smile on my face, and come home on a Friday night. I have a problem with this because it's just no longer, I know there are a lot of people who don't like electric cars and don't like the idea of it or don't like what their perceived environmental impact is. And I don't care about any of that other stuff, right? Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. I'm going to let the experts talk about the environmental impact of EVs versus gas cars. I don't have that information, but there's no longer a discussion. Like the everyday enthusiast car has been defined by the Tesla Model 3 performance. Like I don't know. It's very upsetting. Like there is no alternative. Maybe the Caddy, maybe an M3 because it's really good. The Audi RS3 is not good enough. Like everything else in this, that Lexus is not good enough. The Infinity stuff, nowhere near.
Do they still exist? I mean, I know they do. I'm just making a point.
And then you think, why would you spend $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 on a Nissan Z when you can have a car that's just comfortable and smooth and quiet and efficient and doesn't need oil changes and whatever else? And I understand the counterpoint to that is, I could cook a turkey fast. People say this all the time. I'd cook a turkey faster in a microwave than in an oven, but it's microwave turkey.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is that whatever oven baked or however the traditional turkey is not what it used to be.
Well, I'd rather have fried fucking turkey, which is something old and naturally aspirated and actually tasty. Yeah. Right. And my point is that the drawbacks of all the modern other stuff are so much greater than the relative benefits of in terms of experience versus electric car that it's not worth it. So you want turbo lag and fake engine noise? No. And an automatic and four-wheel drive and 4,000? No. Okay, you want to give me something naturally aspirated with ITBs that sounds good? Like give me an E39 530i as a car that's probably comparably sized to a Model 3 or even an E46 330i ZHP.
Yes.
Okay, now we're talking. Now I would say there are a lot of benefits to that Tesla that don't exist in the E46. First and foremost, crash safety, right? Second is infotainment and stereo system, and then ride quality, structural stiffness, all of these huge, genuine advantages. And I'd still take the BMW over it for the enjoyment, but the rest of this
under
class,
$60,000 is pretty remarkable.
How the fuck do you compete with that?
Yeah.
The answer, of course, is you don't. Now, I just want to remind everybody what we heard from Jason moments ago. There is no longer a discussion. The everyday enthusiast car has been defined by the Tesla Model 3 performance. Jason also then going on to say that it's very upsetting. Hard pill to swallow for car enthusiasts, but hey, the facts are the facts. This is going to really shake things up in the luxury and performance portion of the automotive industry. Model 3 performance is a big fucking deal. Want more content? Early access? A bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 has given me a massive, meaningful boost in energy, allowing me to do a lot more every day, including using my brain more and using my body more. I highly recommend you guys and girls check it out. It's an excellent way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's got 75 high quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus prebiotics and probiotics and digestive enzymes and adaptogens to help you deal with stress. Plus, if you click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR, you can get yourself a 1-year free supply of vitamin D3 and K2. But don't take my word for it. Here's what some of you guys and girls have to say. AG1 has changed my life. I was, as you described, treating myself like a circus, ate like trash, rarely exercised, used alcohol as a stress crutch, cannabis also. AG1 is what gave me the kick in the ass, got me back to the gym, motivated me to do more for myself, family, my business, etc. Keep doing what you do. Now, I know there's some skeptics, the same kind of people who think Elon Musk is a fraud, reading this going, what do you thought? There's no way that's possible, bro. It must be a placebo effect. Believe it or not, this is a recurring theme. If you give your body everything it needs to feel and perform its best, including having a lot more energy, you'll need ways to use that energy. For me personally, that includes more exercise, moving my body more social activity, and more cognitively demanding tasks, including producing a fuck ton of exclusive content over on Twitter and on Patreon, plus my daily YouTube uploads. The proof's in the pudding. On to another testimonial from a viewer of this channel. SMR, you asked me to provide feedback on AG1. Here it is. It has helped with mental acuity, stamina, and intestinal waste management. Can't read between the lines. Certainly helps with regularity and digestion. That's what the digestive enzymes are for. It has also dramatically reduced my cravings for sugar. You guys need to stop eating sugar. It's fucking poison. I'm 50, 5'9", and overweight, aka a fat motherfucker. I think that's a technical term for overweight, isn't it? Is it fat motherfucker or obese? I can't remember. I average 100 hours a week in the West Texas oil fields as a safety supervisor. Jesus Christ, dude. No wonder you're struggling to keep your weight under control. 100 hours a week. Brutal. It has helped me lose weight. It is not an appetite suppressant. It can help fat people suppress cravings, and motivation to be healthier is critical for changing your diet. Love you, brother. Again, this is a great point. It's something people really don't seem to grasp. If you have more energy, everything becomes easier. It's like turning on easy mode for life. A few years ago, before I was taking AG1, my health was trash. I was struggling to get through the day, had afternoon fatigue. The last thing I wanted to do was either use my brain or move my body. Didn't have the energy. Now, my biggest struggle every day is figuring out ways to use that energy. I'm exercising way more, doing a lot more with my friends and family, and of course, my work output has increased substantially. And you can fact check me. Check out the average length of my videos I was posting to YouTube 3 years ago. Need I say more? And one final testimonial. Love this one. Okay, here's the deal for me with this AG1 shit. I'm 41 years old and not the type to eat, drink, smoke, or sleep healthy, so I was skeptical. That being said, here's what I experienced. Day 1, meh. Day 2, afternoon fatigue was about 45 minutes late. Day 3, 0 afternoon fatigue. Day 4, 0 afternoon fatigue plus extra energy. Day 5, again, 0 afternoon fatigue plus energy. Wondering, what the fuck, really? See, this is the thing, right? The results for many people are just almost too good to be true. This is the same experience I had. My afternoon fatigue just vanished out of nowhere. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Why am I not tired in the afternoons anymore? Surely, it's not that AG1, is it? Turns out it was. Day 6 and 7, same thing. Day 8, same thing. Plus, I had the want to get things done around the house that I normally would slack off and not get done. Again, the point, extra energy, you'll need to use it, you'll find ways to use it. Day 9, 10, and 11, and today is day 12. I fucking love it. So however you managed to get me to buy it, I'm so glad you did. Thank you so much, SMR. It really changed me so far. Guys, this shit really works. Just try it. By the way, this is the reason I continue to relentlessly promote AG1. A lot of people get real fucking mad in the comments. Oh my God, Snake Oil Salmon's sold out. Oh my God, he's a scammer. This is fraud. But constantly, I'm pretty sure everyone making these comments is also currently short Tesla stock. I'm not particularly concerned about people having a negative perception, those folks suffering from small brain syndrome, still living in my bum's basement syndrome, etc., writing mean comments, claiming AG1's a scam or it doesn't work. I mean, bro, when I get feedback like this is what keeps me going. Just try this stuff for a month, and if you don't get these results, get your money back. See, it's a literal no-brainer. It's an IQ test at this point in time. Testimonial after testimonial after testimonial like this. Get your money back if it doesn't work. Just try it for a month, and if it doesn't work, get your money back. Today's the day. It's finally time. Be like this guy who was a massive skeptic, but finally, after 1,000 promotions in a row, caved in, tried AG1, and has results like this. Head to drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link in the pinned comment, and please, let me know how you're feeling in a few weeks' time. Now, if you'll excuse me, time to put my extra energy to good use. I'll be recording some more exclusive content for Patreon and my Twitter subscribers. So click the links in the pinned comment, see you over on Twitter and or Patreon, and don't forget to grab your AG1. Love ya.